Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. I'm seeing so much of your feedback, and I'll go through a few more shortly and allow my guests to respond to them, to respond to some of your questions and concerns. We have Governor Josphat Nanok, who is the Director General of the William Ruto Presidential Campaign Council, together with Governor Nderitu Mureithi, the Chair of the Raila Odinga Campaigns Board. Now, as you sit here this evening, gentlemen, your presidential aspirants have just returned from tours abroad to sell their message to partners in the US and the United Kingdom as well. And Governor Nanok, I want to start with you on this one because your presidential aspirant, Dr. William Ruto, made interesting remarks out there on his concerns in regards to the sanctity of the electoral process leading up to August 9th, concerns that there could be rigging. Tonight, I want to allow you to set the record straight as the Director General of his Presidential Campaign Council. Is the William Ruto camp concerned, and is there proof that backs those concerns of rigging or plans to rig in the August 9th poll?
Indeed, the Kenya Kwanza team led by William Ruto is concerned about the activities and process leading to the 9th of August election, particularly around the preparedness of IEBC, but also the preparedness of government institutions that are supposed to support IEBC deliver that election, particularly the security institutions. I think you know very well that the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and SPS have been on record and openly canvassing votes for the Azimio candidate, but at the same time speaking for the other side of the mouth that they will support IEBC to have a free and fair election. You know, those are two contradictory statements because which one do you trust? The one that is taking a partial stand for one candidate, or the one that is speaking of supporting IEBC? And I think there are also many other concerns, including the timeliness of the support to IEBC. You know very well that 4 commissioners out of 7 have just been in office for less than a year. In terms of preparing for those elections, it's a challenge. You know very well also that there was an issue about the CEO of IEBC. It's taken for almost 4 years to appoint a CEO. They have been an acting one. And the bigger concern was, do we bring in a new person or do we have a continuity in that office? Because it is critical to have senior officers who understand the job and who can be able to take us through that transition. There have also been concerns about changing the game of the rules of the game at the 11th hour. You know very well that 2007 election was contested because of changes of the rules of the game at the 11th hour. You remember the Krieger report? Some of the issues, the red flags it raised of don't change the game 1 year into election are basically happening. Because when you see the Political Parties Act coming up with various changes to form an anonymous corporate political party, where individual membership is not allowed, it is corporate membership. It is changing the games at the very 11th hour. And for us, we believe that is a very unconstitutional move.
So why did your aspirant choose to make these comments thousands of kilometers away from the country where his concerns are? Why not make his way to the IEBC, publicly table a memorandum backed by the Kenya Kwanza team so that there's something to act on here?
William Ruto, the candidate for Kenya Kwanza, have stated this publicly in various forums here in Kenya. When we went out there, we went to articulate our position so that William Ruto can be known who he is and his candidacy and what he stands for. And that's why we spoke to it, because Kenya is an anchor state. We are in a region that is very unstable. The only place that is peaceful is Kenya, around our region. And the stability of Kenya, and particularly for this transitional election, is very critical. It is critical not only to Kenyans, but also for the entire international community. So we are placing that strong stand to our friends and telling them, work with Kenya so that we can be able to have a free, fair, and credible election.
Okay. And a yes or no, have your concerns been addressed so far? It was about 2 or 3 weeks since those comments were made. Has there been any engagement with the IEBC or anything of the sort?
The IEBC haven't engaged us. We've seen that the then acting CEO has been confirmed in office, and we believe that we still have a responsibility as political players in a bipartisan way to support IEBC, provide it with resources so that it can be able to do its job.
Governor Nderitu Mureithi, your aspirant in 2017 issued those famous words, vifaranga via computer. And he was very concerned then about characters who did not deserve to be installed as winners of elections, at that point. Does he have any of those concerns this time around, or has the game changed?
Thank you, Wahiga. First of all, to the extent that we ought to be strengthening IEBC, or the condition of IEBC. Remember, the IEBC is a referee. In a match, the condition of the referee does not affect just one of the teams. It affects both teams that are in the field. And therefore, I personally believe that every time we should be helping IEBC to be better. But there's a couple of things, again, about trust and the fact that you say one thing in the morning, another thing at lunchtime, and another later on. Because our competitors have been going around the countryside saying that they have instructed their MPs in Parliament right now to ensure that resources to devolution are increased to 35%. So if they had any issues that they wanted solved, they could have used the same opportunity. So again, it goes down to the question of trust. Now, we are for, and my aspirants, we are for strengthening institutions always. However, we are where we are, and we think that the reason our competitors are beginning to make that talk that they are making now is that they sense defeat. On my last point on this, I think, personally, if you really are grieved as a Kenyan, you see, Wahiga, why do you leave your house? Then you travel several villages across to somebody else's house to go and sit there and castigate your own house. Or that my house is very dirty, my house is not repaired. Yet it is your house. You are the one in charge there. Why are you not repairing it?
Some would say that you're describing your aspirant, Raila Odinga, in 2017. That is what he would do.
We are here today, Wahiga. And the reality is that if you look at these two trips, my aspirant was in the UK, made speeches that have to do with yes, Kenya's foreign policy under his regime, with the expectations of how Kenya would conduct herself under his regime. Our competitor went to the same places to say how that Kenya is rotten, Kenya is not working, and when, of course, he was also asked, but you are the #2 man in that republic, he had nothing to say.
There was no such a question.
The fact of the matter is that he is the #2 man, and it is he who should be fixing anything that is wrong.
So yes or no, your team has no concerns about rigging this time around?
No, our team has no concerns about rigging, but we are on record saying we should always continue to develop stronger and more credible institutions because, of course, the question of, and for us, for example, it's an economic question. If you look at every election cycle, I'll go very quickly. Every election cycle, the economy basically loses a 500 billion, 600 billion opportunity. The economy will be growing, at 5, 6, 7%. In the electoral year, boom, we are back to zero, and then it takes us another year to climb up. And we estimate that loss in the order of 500 to 600 billion. So credible elections are not just a political matter. They are an intensely economic matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wahiga, very quickly.
Yes.
You know very well what the national government presented in Parliament in the revenue share for 2022, 2023 did not contain an increase of resources to counties to 35. It had the usual 15%. And you remember in the drive for BBI, their candidate and the president were pushing for 35% increase. So we were telling them to make that commitment now, because the current constitution as it is does not deny you to increase resources from 15% going up. So, and I'm glad that we had a bipartisan agreement to increase that actually to commit them, that you can still be able to increase. You don't need a constitutional change on that. And then when it comes to strengthening institutions, I mean, I don't know who you are going to be trusting. Those who want the institutions not to work, those who want to strangle Parliament, to strangle the judiciary, and have it to be controlled by the executive. Those who want to underfund the IEBC. You remember a few weeks ago, IEBC came out and said they are short of almost 1.5 billion shillings for them to be able to hold a credible, to deploy, to hold a credible election.
Yes.
So you've got to know who is this. And this all stands on the fact that the opposition is dead. It is not questioning. I think we have a constitutional responsibility as being players in this coming election to flag it to Kenyans where we think it is going to be spoiling for a free and fair election.
Let's talk about players
and of course,
coming election.
Coming to rigging, you know, in addition to what I had said earlier, there have been a record of individuals associated with Azimio, including MPs, saying that they will steal this election. They will rig this election. That has been coming. And those are red flags because the Azimio candidate has the full backing of the deep state, of the current administration.
Let's talk about the current administration.
You know very well that...
who is in the current administration?
The Azimio candidate has said he has been advising...
For 9 years...
He has been advising the current government.
For 9 years, your aspirant has been the deputy president. For 9 years.
Let me tell you, we know very well.
For 9 years,
the
Mr. Odinga has not been in government. I mean, how can you...
The Azimio candidate...
I need order in this
Please
studio.
Give me time, yeah.
Let
me finish.
Yes, finish.
I mean, you know, he doesn't want me to drive his point because he has no issue.
Okay, as you finish, give us...
And he doesn't believe in what he says.
Give us your side's concern about the involvement of President Uhuru Kenyatta in these campaigns. Why are you so concerned about it if the vote is with the people?
The Azimio candidate has been on record saying that he has been advising the current administration. And at the same time, he will let the president be his advisor during his administration. On top of that, all organs of government are supporting the Azimio candidate. The Ministry of Interior has been out on it. A number of cabinet secretaries have not only been speaking on political platforms, but they have small ethnic parties which they are leading from their localities. And a very good example is a party in Kisii, which is being led by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. We have UPIA Party, which is being led by the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. Is that not being partisan politics? Is that not supporting one side of the game? And yet here, they are supposed to be neutral to support the referee who is supposed to be superintending this election.
I deserve
and I think this gives credence to the concerns which Kenya Kwanza candidate William Ruto has raised.
Okay, go ahead.
This is, again, and I really want to plead with our colleagues. You know, don't call people that they are small tribal parties. I think that's trivializing Kenyans. Okay? Even if there are two Kenyans with a political party,
tell us who the 26.
I think you owe Kenyans an apology for that kind of snide.
Who are the 26 parties? Tell us those 26 parties.
Kenyans. Secondly, your insistence on blaming Raila Odinga for the things that have happened in this government that perhaps are not up to par. I think, again, I'm not sure who you hope to convince in Kenya that a leader of an opposition party holding no formal office is the reason you didn't do the things that you are supposed to do. I mean, just, if I were you, I would own up and say, okay, maybe I'll do better next time. But to go trying to blame your neighbor for your own mistakes, I think that is quite buri. You know, before the break. You know,
this guy sometimes
before the break,
wants to speak like President Kibaki, but he doesn't get there.
You see, I look, Nanok, if the point is that you want me to say that President Mwai Kibaki is my uncle, I say it. And it's not an issue. I am Derito Moreithi, one of the best performing governors in Laikipia. When we were MPs with you, I built myself 23 brand new secondary schools with my CDF. I wonder how many you built. Right now, as governor, I have organized 3.3 billion economic stimulus for small businesses in Laikipia versus your 183. The citizens can see. But I want to allow me to conclude.
I bet you
allow me to conclude.
We start winding down. Okay, go.
Allow me to conclude in this fashion. Laikipia Health Service. Okay, just to repeat, Laikipia Health Service. Since that time that the caller was quoting, we do sample referrals, meaning when you go to one of our facilities, we don't ask you to go. We take your sample and refer your sample. Very innovative. Since the time he's talking about, we have a 17-bed critical care unit. I'm just talking about one hospital, LHS Nanyuki. We have a 120-bed brand new mother-child hospital. We have an Empower Cancer Clinic that not only diagnoses but treats cancers. We have a new oxygen plant. We are accredited to all the leading insurance companies. Usage has never been higher.
Okay.
We have nearly 10 specialists, 34 medical officers, more than 70 clinical officers. LHS, that's just one outlet. LHS Nanyuki is doing quite well. Who are these political parties, or how do we harmonize manifestos?
Yes.
Well, that, in fact, is the art of coalition building, that all these political parties, we do, in fact, expect that they are coming into the coalition with clear manifestos and with clear policy positions, because for us, it's about how to create jobs. Allow me only 1 minute to describe to you how you actually create jobs, because we ourselves know it.
Yes.
And our colleagues
I'll give you that 1 minute in your parting shot. Okay. What I want to know is this, because I asked him a question that I need your response on.
Okay.
When a president attends a campaign rally, where do you draw the line in terms of who is meeting the budget for that? So, you draw the line in this fashion. Yes.
The president, or indeed a governor, is a governor until the day the next one is sworn to office. So the expectation, for example, is that a great deal of care is taken in terms of use of assets, okay? That who is paying. For example, if he is going to an event,
Azimio rally, for example, and we've seen him at a few, one or two.
Well, if he's going to, even I, for example, when I go to my own rally, yeah, that is expected to be funded from my own campaign funds. If I go to a government function, so for instance, I've gone to commission something in LHS Nanyuki, that is clearly a government function, and it falls within the purview of my government to pay for it.
Okay. Governor Nanok, you had wanted to respond, then we take final comments on this matter.
Essentially, you know, I want to focus on the race and the candidates who will be running. I'm not running. He is running. But I assure you that there will be a new governor in Laikipia after elections. But again, what is our focus on resolving unemployment? In fact, our focus on agricultural-led growth is going to invigorate that sector. If we focus on it, it's going to work on the value chains, and we'll be able to unlock productivity, but also employment creation across the board. The second one is on enterprise. When we support enterprise, 10 million micro and small industry, and provide deliberate resources, and provide government to be able to solve the barriers that affect business, which includes credit, very high credits from financial institutions, government guaranteeing that at much lower level, providing a level playing field in the market for all the players, but also decriminalizing business and providing property rights. If we can be able to focus on that, we can be able to unlock jobs, not only for non-skilled, but also skilled labor, because the bottom is going to create a demand for industry to demand them to increase, because the customer base is increasing and people have disposable income
and that's how you create jobs
to spend.
Okay.
And then the other thing is on
briefly, we are winding down now. Yes.
Yeah, the question that came. The Nanok that supports Raila or the Nanok that supports Ruto? You know very well that there are various reasons that I supported the Azimio candidate when he was the ODM party leader then, for the period that we served together. And I think that mandate changed immediately after 2017 election. That's why I can tell you, I was the first governor and a member of ODM to ignore, to agree that the swearing in of the president and the deputy president has to happen. I went there personally because the Supreme Court had ruled. But also the second one on the boycott. I refused any boycott of any products of the economy in Turkana because I knew the local people are going to be suffering. And this is the reason we parted with. And so when I met a man that stands for the principles I think are so dear, because I have been a defender of low-level people, you know very well, my defense when we had issues about shareable revenue for extractive industry. And I believe that he has that plan that is going to lift millions from poverty. And of course, issues of parties. These 26 parties, it's probably only 2 parties that are old, Jubilee and ODM, and a few others. The rest of the parties, look at the details. They are less than 6 months old. They were just created the other day.
Briefly.
They were created to give to give a feeling that this is a large coalition, yet it is very hollow, because they are regional, county-based. They are ethnic-based. And the Constitution tells us, let us go towards the direction of strengthening our democracy by having national parties so that we can do away with ethnic tensions that have always been the cause of violence in this country.
Okay, we leave it there. 1 minute to talk about the jobs, because I didn't give you a chance to finish, and then we have to wrap it up.
Thank you. The Constitution guarantees you the right for association. If you want to form a political party, fellow Kenyan, please do so. And do not be discouraged by the disparaging remarks of my colleague here. As to my own re-election chances, his relatives in Laikipia confirmed to me that they will be voting for me. How do you create jobs? How do you create jobs?
Briefly, please.
You create jobs via manufacturing. Why? A smallholder farmer in Laikipia with 2 or 3 acres of land, you increase her productivity by giving her a tool or a machine that she's using so that in order to have more output per unit of time. You also want to make sure that those machines and tools are made in Lodwar, or they are made in Nakuru, or they are made in Nyahururu, or Nanyuki, so that those jobs for making those machines are here in Kenya and not in India or China. That is why, for example, and we were asked to demonstrate as governors what we are doing, that is why if you are a manufacturer in Laikipia today, we are giving you a rebate, 40%, on your cost of electricity in order to make you as competitive as your competitors out of India and China. If you are a manufacturer or food processor in Laikipia today, we are giving you a 50% rebate on your distribution costs. Because you see, when you move from one county to another, you'll be charged another single business permit for distribution. And those are the kinds of innovative things that we are doing that have allowed us in Laikipia to support in excess of 1,700 businesses that have created 22,000 jobs.
Finally.
Finally. Can our colleagues match that? Trust issue, my last issue on trust.
One sentence. What is it?
The trust is this.
Yes.
History gives an indicator. So what you did yesterday and last year and several years ago, Raila Odinga is the only politician of the front line who was willing to go to jail to liberate this country from an oppressive state. He did not just go once. He was detained, he came out. He tried again, he was detained. He tried again, he was detained. He tried again. He was detained for a total of 8.5 years. That, honestly, is the man you can trust to fight for you.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Nanok, I'll give you now 30 seconds.
Just 2 issues. I want to respond to what he's saying. And I think still on job creation. I know my colleague is an economist. We want to focus on the value chain development, but also on making sure that we've created sufficient jobs. For example, the cost of creating one job in Kenya is 1.1 million shillings. If you compare it with Bangladesh, it's 400,000 shillings. If you compare it with India, it's 200,000 shillings. Are we competitive globally? We are not. And I want to give you one example for EPZ here. For 40,000 jobs they are creating, they are only generating 30 billion shillings in revenue. If you compare it with Bangladesh, 4 million jobs created, and the revenue generated 3 trillion. This is a competitiveness through the bottom up that we want to focus on.
Okay.
So that we can create more jobs with a few amount of money.
Okay, thank you.
And we have that plan. They don't have it, unless they copy it even from what I'm saying here.
And we'll take that as your final.
And then finally, the last one is on trust issues. I served together with him on the NAC government, the Nusum Kate government. There was a lot of infighting in politics. The wing of President Kibaki and the wing of Prime Minister Raila were fighting. Are these the fights that he wants to see again moving forward? In that coalition they are forming called Azimio? And then trust issues, 2017.
Yet this is
why is
Nusum Kate? First of all, it was PNU.
Can I finish?
Can I finish? Okay. And this is the Nusum.
Why has NASA collapsed?
If we carry on,
why has NASA collapsed? It's trust issues on coalitions. And I think those ones already know that they're going into problems. And can we trust the Azimio candidate to accept the results of the election? Can we trust that he will not be the cause of violence? Can we trust that he will not be the cause of economic boycott? I think it's difficult to trust. It's difficult to trust on those issues,
and this is a man
particularly on the economy.
On worked with faithfully for
a long time on trust issues. That Nusum Kate Grand Coalition delivered the Constitution of Kenya 2010, by far the most revolutionary effort in creating freedom.
Bipartisan. Kenya. Bipartisan. There was a bipartisan agreement across the political.
Can I conclude? Now, in that constitutional moment, his aspirant was one of the negotiators. Then he went to oppose it. My aspirant, not only was he part of the process, he led the campaign for the adoption of the Constitution. You can trust him to implement it. As I finish.
You are finished.
Thank you.
We'll leave it there, gentlemen.
Thank you.
As I listen to both of you, clearly articulating your points, why aren't any of you vying to be the president of this country?
Well, because he refused to support me. No, I'm joking.
No. Must you wait for others? Or
I have decided to support William Ruto because he's ready. He has an extensive network and he's reachable to Kenyans. And probably after him, I'll think of it.
Okay. And then for you, you're saying you're remaining Laikipia for now?
Well, I am running for my second term.
You're running for your second term?
Of Laikipia. I think there is no doubt in most of Kenyans' minds, and this is where the Mandela movement has come about, that this is the time for Raila Odinga, and this is the time to move Kenya forward.
Okay. You cannot account to Kenyans for what is called Mandela movement.
Okay.
What does it mean to the Turkana?
Let's wrap it there. We are holding Kenyans hostage. We need to allow them to go to sleep.
Thank you.
So we'll leave it there. I want to really thank Governor Josephat Nanok, Director General, William Ruto, Presidential Campaign Council, and Governor Nderitu Mureithi, the chair of the Raila Odinga Campaigns Board. Those are the generals leading the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio la Umoja, or should I say Azimio Oka Kenya coalitions at this moment. Those are their points. We hope you had your notebooks and you are jotting down the different ideas that both sides have, because at the end of the day, it will be up to you. And we'll see if we can have them again after April. A lot will be happening there in regards to party primaries, to look at the state of the coalitions. Will they make it through those primaries? Many have questions about that. Well, we'll see. And we'll be covering it right here on Citizen TV. On behalf of the whole team that's made this broadcast possible, and of course, I've had my sign language interpreter today, patiently working. It's been Wilson Mushora. Thank you for tuning in. We do this every Tuesday as we seek to get you the opinion shapers and the duty bearers of our country to help you really understand what's happening in politics. Thank you for tuning in wherever you've been watching us from, Kenya, East Africa, around the world. Have a good night.